Going on the record, we are now on the record.
Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills Annual Organization Meeting of the Township Council, January 3rd, 2019.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December 19th, 2018, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record and the North Star Ledger on December 27, 2018, and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers and local radio stations on December 19, 2018. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision Public Access Channel 21 at 11 a.m. and Sundays and on Sundays.
Okay, please rise for flag salute. Peterson, if you would.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Council, Mr. DePiero,
Here.
Ms. Grignani,
Present.
Ms. McCarthy,
Here.
Ms. Peterson.
Here.
Also in attendance are Business Administrator Keith Kazmark, Mayor Michael Soriano, Township Attorney Jim Lott, and Township Clerk Colette Madden. Council President, we have a quorum. You may begin.
You got to call me.
I'm sorry?
You didn't call him in
You
roll
didn't call
call.
me in roll call.
I didn't say Council President?
No.
Oh, I
Sorry,
apologize
I'll
for
let
that.
you-
That is not a good
Still-
thing for the clerk
still,
to forget
we're
the Council President.
Still within 3-4 days of New Year's.
Yeah. Still hungover.
Are you here?
All right, I'm here. Okay.
I
Upcoming
apologize
meetings.
for that, but Council President is here.
Okay, upcoming meetings, January 3rd, 7 p.m. Agenda meeting, public invited, public participation. January 22nd, 2019, 7 p.m. Regular meeting, public invited, public participation.
Council President, you might want
Yes.
to point out to the regular visitors to our council meetings the time change for the future.
Yes, it's been noticed that our council meetings from now on will begin at 7 p.m. Okay, that goes for our agenda and our regular meetings, 7 p.m.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'd also, today in the audience, we have Senator Joe Panaccio. And we have Assemblywoman Betty Lou DeCroce. Thank you for coming.
Auditor?
And we have our auditor.
Oh, our auditors here, Ray Sarinelli.
Board of Adjustment Chairman?
Our Board of Adjustment Chairman. Oh, I didn't see him behind Davey back there. Bob Iricane. All right. Okay, moving on to appointments. Our auditor. And,
You need a motion?
yes,
That's-
entertain it. Go ahead.
Nope.
in a resolution.
We have it in a
We have it
resolution.
in
The
our
auditor, we
resolution.
have
Yeah,
it in
we
a
have it in
resolution,
our
so we can get
resolution.
back to it, because I have him by resolution.
Yes.
Everybody else, we'll get to him, so you go to the committees now?
Sure. Okay, committees, boards, Board of Education, Council Liaison, Mrs. McCarthy, if you would take that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Craftsman Farms Foundation, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
take that. Economic Development Advisory Committee, Mrs. McCarthy,
Okay.
take that. Okay, Emergency Services Council, I'll take that. Environmental Advisory Committee, Mrs. Peterson.
Yep.
Take that. Okay, Fire Prevention Bureau, I'll take that. Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, Mrs. McCarthy.
Yes.
Library Board of Trustees, Mrs. Peterson.
Yes.
Morris County League of Municipalities, Mrs. Grignani.
Yes.
Okay, Municipal Government Transparency Committee, Mrs. Peterson.
Yes.
Okay, do you have any members for nomination?
Not at this time.
So this is, as of right now, Council President has finished talking about the liaisons. Can I just place them on the record one more time, just so we're clear on who's who? We have Board of Education Liaison, Janice McCarthy. Craftsman Farms Foundation, Mike DePiero. Economic Development Advisory Committee, Janice McCarthy. Emergency Services Council, Paul Carriffy. Environmental Advisory Committee, Emily Peterson. Fire Prevention Bureau, Paul Carriffy. Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, Janice McCarthy. Library Board of Trustees, Emily Peterson. Morris County League of Municipalities, Loretta Grignani. And Municipal Government Transparency Committee, Emily Peterson. At this point in time, we will now take nominations for the committees.
I'd like to nominate the present board that is there, have them reappointed.
I'll go back.
This is for Municipal Government Transparency
The
Committee?
Municipal Government Transparency Committee, yes.
Okay. I'll second that.
So we have a nomination for the previous 4 members who are currently sitting on the Municipal Government Transparency Committee. The nomination was made by Ms. Grignani, and it was seconded by Mr. Carriffy. We're going to go into a roll call. Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes,
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So just to be clear, there's one open position on that.
I was just going to, absolutely. There's
Okay.
one open position currently at this point in time. They can be nominated now, or we can do that at a later date.
Do you want to do that at a later meeting?
At a later meeting,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, how about the historic?
Okay,
We
yes,
have
we're going to get to that
two
now.
openings there.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just going to get to that. You know, I reached out. I think the members are going to stay the same, but I'm going to have to get back to you about that.
Okay, so we'll put that
Barbara
on.
Seaman and
Yeah,
Sarif Simpson.
yeah.
Suden.
Okay.
So we will address that at the next meeting because we haven't
Yes,
had a motion.
yeah.
Okay, not a problem.
And also for the Environmental Advisory Committee, you're going to...
I'll be on, yeah.
For the Environmental Advisory Committee,
Yes, so we're going to handle that one at the next meeting as well.
not
Okay?
a problem.
All right, moving on, Parsippany Area Chamber of Commerce, I'll take that. Parsippany Child Daycare Center, Ms. Grignani.
yes,
Okay, Planning Board, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Police Athletic League, myself. Recreation Advisory Committee, we have one opening. I'd like to nominate Frank Neglia.
Second.
Okay, so we have a nomination of Frank Neglia made by Mr. Carriffy, seconded by Mr. DePiero. We're going to do a roll call. Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
yes,
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay, Traffic Advisory Committee, Mr.
Council President, who's
Yes.
the liaison for the Recreation Advisory Committee?
That's Ms. Grignani,
Okay, perfect.
but that's not up right now. She's, her term hasn't expired.
Yeah, I just want to check for the minutes.
The Traffic Advisory Committee, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Okay, we also, there's a couple openings
2 openings.
there. I'd like to nominate George Terry.
second,
George Terry. So a nomination was made by Mr. Carriffy, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
yes,
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. We still have an opening there. Mr. DePiero, you'll get back to us for our next meeting on that?
I will get back to you on that.
Okay.
Colette,
Yes.
has your office been saving requests for appointments, people that want to appoint on different committees?
Anyone that has submitted an application along with a resume, I have in a white binder. I'll actually bring that over during break so you can just take a look at it.
How big is it?
We don't get that many applications generally, even though I've went through the process and I've stated on the record as to what the process is with regards to if you're interested.
It's not on a spreadsheet?
It's not on spreadsheet, no, but we can, no, I think we do have a spreadsheet. No, we do have a spreadsheet, correct.
Yeah, what Judy used to do many years ago was have a spreadsheet, someone's name and then check marks on all the committees that they have an interest in.
Yes, we have something similar. I can email that to you.
Yeah, why don't you send that to us so we can look at the list to replace some of these?
Not a problem. We'll do that tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
I think also we have an opportunity, just outreach, and I know there is a member of the press here to invite people who may not have participated in the past, if they are feeling particularly energized in their patriotism. I would invite people to contact the clerk's office and help us out by, raising your hand and saying that you would like a position.
Okay, moving on to the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Ken Gambarino. I think his application and resume are on file, right?
One
For which,
second.
For your alternate?
okay, for the first thing we'll be doing is alternate number 1.
So
for
Ken
your term.
Gambarino is a nomination.
We're doing the zoning board now?
Yes.
Yeah.
You need a second?
On the zoning board right now, there were, what,
Okay.
4 openings? or-
We have 2
Yes.
alternate and 2 openings for regular members. And as of right now, we have a nomination by Ms. McCarthy for a Ken Gambarino. We need a second for that nomination.
Second?
Okay, we have a second.
Wait a minute. For what position?
It's for the
For
alternate
For the
number
first
1.
First
We're going in order.
We're going to go down in
And
order.
that means that we're going to replace someone that's there now.
Well, that's the nomination.
That's the nomination.
That's the
That's a
nomination.
nomination and a second.
We're
So-
gonna vote on that nomination right now.
So we have a nomination by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
No.
Ms. Grignani.
No.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes?
Ms. Peterson.
Yes?
Mr. Carriffy.
No.
Okay, motion fails. We need another nomination.
I nominate Davy Willens.
Second.
Okay, so we have a nomination for Davy Willens by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to alternate number 2.
I have a nomination for Tom Dimsmore.
Okay, so we have a nomination for Tom Dinsmore made by Ms. McCarthy. Need a second on that?
Second?
Seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Well, let me just ask a question first. Has anybody spoken to Scott?
Scott, just
Yes, I have.
nobody has. I wouldn't know that
I
information.
I have.
And what did he say?
He's still interested.
He still wants to serve.
Yes.
All right, then I vote no.
Okay, Mr.
Nothing against Tom, by the way.
Okay, so Mr. DePiero voted no. We have Ms. Grignani,
No.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes?
Mr. Carriffy.
No.
Okay, so that motion fails. We need another nomination.
I'd like to nominate Scott Joskowitz.
Second.
Okay, so Mr. Carriffy nominated Mr. Joskowitz, Scott Joskowitz, and it was seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
No?
Ms. Peterson,
No?
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to regular member, 4-year term.
Nominate Bob Iricane.
Second.
Okay, we have a nomination by Mr. DePiero for Bob Iricane. We have a second by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Well, you know, we got some information yesterday regarding the zoning board of adjustments. And it said that out of 282 variants, out of 282 variances, there was only 2 denied, which, you know, raises some concerns. So at this point, until I have more information, no.
Ms. Peterson?
I think the greatest education that I've had in the year that I have served on council is the role that each of the boards plays and where the responsibilities lie when things are constructed that after the fact residents realize they're not pleased with. And often it comes here in our meetings and we have dutifully listened to critique of things that have been constructed. And I have come to learn that many of those construction opportunities were approved or denied at boards that are not the people that you see sitting before you. And so while I am still participating in my own education in this process, those facts are pretty clear to me. And so just based on numbers asking for relief from the law, which is what the council put in place to prevent such construction from happening in the first place, when 280 of 282 requests for relief of the law are approved, I would say that's looking fresh eyes on the process would be warranted. So I will say no.
Did you also notice in the email that we received
that several were for porches, driveway expansions, generators, air conditioner locations. There are several there that I think warrant approvals.
Sure.
And there were several that were withdrawn. I understand, Ms. Peterson, where your concerns are, but this is a board that has worked together for several years. I know they have a few new members, but the members that have been there, I feel, have done the best that they could with the knowledge from not only the attorney, but also the information that is garnered to them by the applicants and either their representatives. So,
Can I provide a little history here, if I may, Council President?
Sure.
Any lot that's non-conforming, by no error of the people that live there, we'll take, for instance, Normandy Village, right off of Smith Road by St. Anne Church. Normandy Village is zoned R2, half acre. But almost every single home there is on 1/3 acre. So every one of those homes is non-conforming. Anything that those people want to do, a new air conditioner, anything outside their house that they need to do, they need a variance on. I mean, it's ridiculous, but they need a variance. Year after year, we were getting requests from the Board of Adjustment to change the zone, so they didn't have to go through all of that every time they wanted to do something outside their house. Oddly enough, the people from Normandy Village vehemently objected to that and demanded that we not do it. The reason being that the setbacks from the curb are different for R3 than it is for R2. And they did not want anyone building out in the front of their house, which would be not consistent with the rest of the neighborhood. So there were reasons why they did not want that zone to be changed. So it goes on and on. All these people, and that's just one example, all over town, any work that they have to do outside their house, they have to go before that Board of Adjustment. So that's the reason so many of them were approved. They're routine things that they have no choice, they have to go to the Board of Adjustment for.
Well, can I just say, I don't know that we're clear on that, and
What do you mean you're not clear
I mean,
on
I'm
that?
not clear on those things from the information that I has, and as I said, it seems like 282.
Well, I just thought I would mention
Yeah,
it.
but 282 to 2, even with that, seems to me to be
Okay.
a lot, you know? I mean, it's,
I wasn't trying to change
No,
your
I-
mind.
no, I
just wanted to,
understand.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay,
and I just think, you know, the other issue, there's some things that are going to be coming up, and there's an issue of the 7-Eleven. And this Madeira Apartments, I was just wondering why there was no COA attached to that. And that was another issue, I think, that came before the zoning board. So those are some concerns that I have. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm sorry, Emily.
That's
Did
okay.
you were going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I said my piece.
all right. So, just for clarification of the record, I want to go over this one more time. We had a nomination for Bob Irkane, and I just want to go over the roll one last time. Mr. DePiero,
yes.
Ms. Grignani,
yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
No.
Ms. Peterson,
No.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
I'd like to nominate Sridith Reddy.
Second,
Nomination made by Mr. Carriffy and seconded by Mr. DePiero for Sridith Reddy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
No.
Ms. Peterson,
No.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Mr. DePiero, if you would start off with Resolution 2019-001.
Well, what about Craftsman Farms? Was
That
there
was
one
you.
more?
No, that was you.
That was done already?
Yeah, that was done.
Okay, that's not in the same order as the sheet we had, okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing now?
001.
Temporary
Good.
budget.
Okay, temporary budget, motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. McCarthy, 002.
Temporary Budget 2, motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Peterson, 3.
Resolution to 2019-3, Cash Management Plan. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Grignani, number 4.
Resolution 2019-004, designation of official newspaper. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second. Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. DePiero, number 5.
Resolution 2019-005, designation of newspapers to receive notices. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. McCarthy.
R 2019-006, authorizing the Township Assessor to take certain actions to prosecute and defend tax appeals. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Did you want my vote?
No, we don't want your vote. No, Ms.
Okay,
McCarthy.
thank you.
Go ahead, Ms.
Appreciate
McCarthy. I'm
that.
sorry about
I
that.
forgot me before, too.
I had to forget someone else other than the council president, so I don't get in trouble later.
Motion to get the clerk a Red Bull.
Yeah.
Second.
I apologize.
Not only pretty back to get tenure this year now.
Could be a short year for you.
Looks like that way, actually.
Mrs. Peterson, number 7.
Resolution 2019-7, granting fee exemptions in connection with permits for construction, zoning, engineering, fire prevention, health, parks and forestry, and recreation departments. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Grignani.
Resolution 2019-008, designating an employee to serve as public agency compliance officer. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. DePiero, number 9.
Resolution 2019-009, authorizing the Township Tax Collector to charge a penalty on delinquent taxes, assessments, or other municipal liens or charges. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. McCarthy.
R 2019-010, authorizing the Township Tax Collector to charge interest on delinquent taxes, assessments, or other municipal liens or charges. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Peterson.
Resolution 2019-11, awarding a contract to Nisavocia LLP for professional services as township auditor.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2019-012, authorizing a professional services agreement with James L. Lott Jr., Esquire, sitting to my right, of the firm Riker, Danzig, Shira, Highland, and Peretti, LLP, as Township Attorney. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yeah, I voted no on this last year, but I'll vote yes this year.
What a difference a year makes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr.
Congratulations.
Council President.
By the
Mr.
way,
Council
I
President.
voted yes on that last.
Right,
year.
Mr. Council President. I would just like it noted and stated for the record that last year, Mr. Lott's wife was very offended that he did not get a full unanimous vote. And Mr. Lott, please make sure you go home tonight and let her know you got it 5-0, okay?
I will
You
let her
made
know
it.
that, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, all right, thank you.
I appreciate all the support of the council this year. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. DePiero. 13.
Resolution 2019-13, awarding a contract to the firm McMiniman, Scotland and Bauman LLC as conflict counsel. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
That was by purpose. Motion passes.
Okay, Ms. McCarthy.
R 2019-014, awarding a contract to the firm McMillan, Scotland and Bauman LLC as bond counsel. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 2019-15, appointing and awarding a contract with Joseph M. Wenzel, Esquire, of the firm Friend and Wenzel LLC, as special legal counsel. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ms. Grignani.
Resolution 2019-016, appointing and awarding a contract with the firm of Kaufman, Semeraro, and Liebman, LLP, as special legal counsel. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Sometime later, Mayor, you're gonna have to explain to me why we need 3 special legal counsels.
We have more than that.
Well, I see 3 right in a row here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have another.
I'll vote yes, but I'd like an explanation.
Okay, Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Mr.
Through you, Council President,
Get.
if I may, I had asked Mr. Lott last week, as part of our year-end, to provide a synopsis of each pending case, both handled by his firm and any outside legal counsel. So I think what will be best is I'll provide that letter once I receive it from Mr. Lott to the entire council, so you have a full understanding of what his firm is handling and what each of our special legal counsel firms
Good.
are handling as well.
Okay. And I actually received today the final report from all special counsel, so I'll have that to you next week.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Mr.
you.
DePiero, number 17.
Resolution 2019-17, appointing and awarding a contract with the firm of Carlson, Seitzma, Werner LLP, and as special legal counsel. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by.
Did I
Mr.
kill that name? Is that, how do you pronounce that? Seitzma?
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 Seedsma.
Seedsma?
Seitzma. Yeah, okay. I damaged it.
He'll get over it. Or she.
Hey, we had a motion by Mr. DePiero. What was the second?
Grignani, second.
Second by Ms.
we're
Grignani.
starting over.
Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yep.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Roll. Motion passes. A motion for a Red Bull for Ms. Peterson.
Because I think we all need one.
Ms.
I think
McCarthy.
we all need one.
R 2019-18, appointing and awarding a contract to Lisa Chadwick Thompson, Esquire, of the firm of Mason Thompson LLC, as Township Chief Municipal Prosecutor. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Peterson, number 19.
Resolution 2019, number 19, appointing and awarding a contract to Monica Madden Esquire as Township Municipal Prosecutor. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Just a note for the record, Monica was here. She wanted to thank the council, but she had to run for the baby, so I just, she told me to say that on the record, so.
Okay.
Resolution 2019-020, appointing and awarding a contract as Township Public Defender for the year 2018 to the firm of Forrester, Aubrey, Velez. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. DePiero, number 21.
Resolution 2019-21, appointing and awarding a contract to Gerald Kelly Esquire as Public Defender for the year 2018. This got to be 19, right?
Yeah, 19.
Yes, sorry
These all
about
are
that.
Should be
supposed to be
19,
19.
so should
These should all be
fellas.
19.
Yeah, we've been reading.
Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Mrs. McCarthy,
To
number 22.
R 2019-023, appointing and awarding a contract to Eric M. Bernstein and Associates LLC as special legal counsel. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Motion
Second.
made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Legal special counsel?
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Did we do 22? We didn't do 22.
We didn't do 22. Genova Burns.
22, did you?
We didn't do 22, I don't think, Genova Burns.
Okay, you want me to read 22? R 2019-022, appointing and awarding contract to Genova Burns as special legal counsel. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, Mrs. Grignani, number 24.
Appointing and awarding contract to Florio, Perucci, Steinhardt, and Capelli LLC as special legal counsel. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Ms. Peterson.
We have a lot coming up.
Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. DePiero, number 25.
Resolution 2019-25, appointing and awarding contract to McCurdy, Riskin, Olson, Delapelli, PC, as special legal counsel in connection with tax appeal matters.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs.
R
McCarthy?
2019-026, resolution of the Township Council of Township Parsippany-Troy Hills authorizing payment of full salary to all township employees who have been called to active duty. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. McCarthy, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
I initiated this about 20 years ago, and we continue it every year.
That's good.
It's a good resolution.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Peterson, 27.
Resolution 2019, number 27, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills awarding a contract for professional planning services to BFJ Planning.
Second.
Motion, sorry.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Oh,
Motion to
okay.
approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Peterson, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
2019-028, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills awarding a contract for professional planning services to Burgess Associates Incorporated. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Grignani, seconded by Mr. DePiero. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. DePiero, number 29.
Resolution 219-29. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills awarding a contract for professional planning services to CGP&H LLC. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Mrs. McCarthy. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, at this time, I entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Ms. Grignani.
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Floor is open to the public.
Mr. Council President,
Yes.
I would like to readdress the Zoning Board of Adjustment issues.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to note for the record that I agree with Councilwoman McCarthy and Council Vice President, and Councilwoman Peterson. Many residents have approached me over the last 2 years with concerns about things that have been approved by the board that they were unhappy with. Numbers don't lie. And 280 some approvals to 2 denials is concerning. And I'm sure that there are a good amount that were justified, but that number is concerning and is a bit of an aberration. So that was the purpose of my email and informing all council members of the findings that we had here. And I just want to make sure that's for the record. This is not to single out any individual board member, but it is something that should be concerned with, that should be calculated with every single appointment going forward, is what I recommend to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if anybody would come up, please state your name and your address. You'll be given 5 minutes.
My name is Robert Ira-Kane.
Hold on, Mr. Ira-Kane, 1 second. I just want to turn the mic on.
This is a Board of Adjustment. These are appointments.
So why aren't they on the other side?
Not by the minute. So where does he come off the other and sending us the notice?
Hello? All right, there you go.
We should listen to.
I am a 47-year resident of this town,
Just state your address.
47 New England Drive, Lake Hiawatha. I have been on the zoning board for 29 years, 19 as chairman. And in those 29 years, I only regret voting for an application once that I felt was not in the interest of the residents and the township and the best residents of the township and the residents. I am totally blown away by Mayor Soriano's memo. Nobody came to me and asked me any questions about the zoning board. Did you come, Ms. Peterson? Did you come, Ms. McCarthy? Have you ever spoken to me? Neither of you have. And you're a lightweight, okay? You're a lightweight.
All right, okay.
I'm sorry, that was uncalled for, You guys don't have all the facts. What are you gonna do when you have a 40 by 100 lot on a block that's got 15 40 by 100 lots, and a person wants to put up a conforming house? Now you have to understand, you have to build a minimum size house in this town. You can't put up a small house, it has to be a minimum size. Therefore, it's gonna require lot coverage, maybe some side yard setbacks. We work very hard to minimize those variances. We don't just willy-nilly give them out. And if the next door neighbor complains, we ask them to work it out with the next door neighbor. Don't put any windows on that side of the house. So you guys have criticized me, not the board None of the rest of the members, you've criticized me. And I've put in more volunteer hours in this town than all of you put together, okay? I can go back to 1974 when I first joined the J.C.'s in this town, and I'll give you point by point what I've done for this town, okay? So I am personally insulted, and you know what? I'm going to serve 4 years. I was actually thinking of maybe, I'm almost 72 years old, maybe I ain't going to make 4 years. But you're stuck with me for 4 years!
All right, let's.
Great.
Mr. Council President, if I may, Mr. Iracane, thank you for coming up and speaking and letting us know who you are. This is your appointment for the next 4 years. Mr. Iracane, there was nothing personal in this at all. There was no need for name calling, and by the way, thank you for noticing that I did lose weight. I appreciate that. But all I'm doing is raising a concern. I'm sorry if you're personally offended by that, but this is not about one individual, it's about a township, and it's about how we're going to build towards the future. By the way, thank you for your years of service.
Through you, Council President, if I could just direct a inquiry to Mr. Lott. Jim, I think it might be helpful at this point, just for the public's edification, to talk about any member of the governing body or the mayor's interaction with the zoning board beyond the appointment, that they're prohibited from impacting zoning board applications. I think an explanation to that would be helpful.
Sure. The municipal land use law makes the zoning board of adjustment a quasi-judicial land use agency. Other than the power to appoint its members, it acts free of any township direction, and they're to make their decisions in accordance with the municipal land use law and the township land development code.
So it would be inappropriate for any council member to approach the zoning board on any type of inquiry, as Mr. Iracane may have suggested. Am I correct?
That's correct. Okay.
And just one other thing I'm going to note. This is the way Mr. Iracane decided to address this body and to address these people here. We have treated him with nothing but respect, especially when addressing him. So now I'm asking the question, how is he conducting himself in a meeting where he is the judge?
Richard Rosenthal, 3 Cambridge Road, Morris Plains.
I hope he got his calendar.
I'm directing myself to the property
I don't
on
think
Route,
anyone
on
in
Route
Morris
10
Plains got calendars.
that I had started. That's another program. Don't
Oh, please, the post office is driving me crazy.
Way to get a refrigerator delivered to the wrong address. I only have 5 minutes to speak about the Route 10 property, so I'm not going to develop all the points. I'm only going to develop those points that I can within the 5 minutes. So there's a lot that I haven't said, but strictly through this. After I came out of the meeting last time, I had the opportunity to review the statement of the builder, or the intended builder on the property. First of all, I want to say to you, I am not against building on this property. We need building, and it's not for me to say I move to the suburbs, close the doors, let people move here. But I am questioning this piece of property and the way it's being handled. Anytime you call, as a taxpayer in Parsippany, anytime you refer to something as payment in lieu of taxes, then I begin to question it. I want to be part of that, but I'm not getting anything out of it because I'm just a regular taxpayer through here. So let me go into what this builder has done for this piece of property. And I'm going to refer to the pages in his form here. And one of the first things he says he says he wants to develop on this piece of property. And he says, this is a dilapidated building. I moved here, this property was not in existence. When I was here, the Marriott wasn't in existence, and this wasn't in existence. Dialogic was a tenant until a number of years ago. They moved out. when you pass the building, it's a very attractive building. The architecture is really nice on this building, and it really but he calls this dilapidated. How did it become dilapidated? How long did he own this piece of property, and why did he let this property deteriorate? He has determined that this is a dilapidated piece of property, and therefore, what he says in here, it has to be torn down because he can't renovate this property. That means that any piece of property, any office building, leave it vacant for a few years, then come before you and say, I want to develop this piece of property because this is vacant. I could do this to my house. I'll come before you. I live in the middle of Powder Mill. I'll let it deteriorate. I'll say, we need a 7-Eleven in the middle of Powder Mill under that standard. And I'm looking at other pieces of property. How many office buildings will be allowed? Once you set the precedent by allowing this building to be called dilapidated, how many other buildings are going to be called dilapidated? Next. He calls it a town center. I love that. He goes on, and everybody's, ooh, the town center. That's terrific. A town center. This town center is at a corner of Parsippany. It's a town center. So you're telling me the people from Lakeshore Drive and Knoll are going to come across here to go to a town center in the corner of Parsippany. You take two buildings, 800 feet each, you put a little street in it with limited traffic, and you say, that's a town center. And what are you going to do in the town center? He goes on further here. He says, we're going to have ice skating. People who live in the lake area in Parsippany don't need this to go ice skating. For those of us who it's too cold to go to a county lake, all we do is go to Menin, which is 3 miles away. Then he says, okay, we'll have a farmer's market. You've owned the property for how many years? You didn't think of having a farmer's market there? If it was a need for a farmer's market, you would have done it. Other towns have it, and it's not even a piece of property. You go to Denville, they have a farmer's in the middle of a parking lot. You go to Morristown, there's a piece of property in the middle of it. So please don't tell me that you need a farmer's market here. This property has been vacant. Next, also you're going to show movies. You people who live in town for a long period of time, do you really want, I don't care if they can have movies or not, but the park department certainly could put up movies. It's got Veterans Park, which is a beautiful place. You didn't suggest it. I'm not saying you're negligent in it, but he wants to put a movie on, so therefore we're going to have it.
One minute.
Huh?
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, next. What he's saying here, millennials are going to live here. So in other words, and he says, Hoboken, they're not going to live in Hoboken anymore, and they are not going to live in Jersey City because they're going to come here to Parsippany. The living in Hoboken and Jersey City is you got a community, and you go to New York. So you just call it millennials, they're moving out of here, and they're all going to move into this property. I'll save the rest for the next time.
Thank you. Okay, see no one else come forward. I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Grignani. Roll call, Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, at this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn the reorganization meeting.
Motion.
Second?
Okay, motion made by Mr. DePiero, seconded by Ms. Peterson. Roll call. Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Ms. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Peterson,
Yes.
Mr. Carriffy.
Yes.
Motion passes. We're now going to adjourn, and we'll reconvene for the regular meeting in 8 minutes. Thank you. Have a nice night.
8
Read
minutes.
my mind. That's exactly. I was going to say 8 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
I figured maybe I got a little time to sit up here.
No, but the point was, your point is on specific applications, they cannot talk to the board of adjustment.
No, I'll take care of it.
In general to the board of adjustment.
Oh, yeah. It's not like you can't say hi to the guy in the shop.
Happy New Year, Mr. Miller. Good to see you. I was happy to see your name.
We have one right now, I don't know how we're gonna deal with it. That's before the board of
Community,
adjustment.
Davey and I
We
go
can't
back
give
to
our
when
opinion.
I
We
was
don't
the caretaker at
We wanna
Craftsman
fix
Farms.
it. The residents don't like it.
We have to change it.
I didn't realize you were the caretaker.
Well, for me,
Juggling, right?
okay.
I remember that.
All right, good.
I did that too. I wear a number of hats at Craftsman Farms.
You're making me hungry. I'll make sure.
Give me some elbow, because I don't want to shake hands.
Yeah.
I see all morning just how are you? Good to see you.
And then we'll have a path forward. You guys will impact the funding.
Yes-ish. Even though it would be yes-ish, I can get you. Would you like one?
We gave them the
So
money
we've
to buy the property.
been dealing with this all week
They can sell the
since
property
well, actually since we came back from the holidays.
with money that we gave them to buy it.
Which is all week. Yeah, yeah,
That's
and
trouble.
I don't disagree with you. Quite
How the hell
frankly,
did they sell property we gave them the money to buy?
it's all and it's all
That is wrong in so
it's all-
many ways.
And what? Yeah, what?
But we're gonna have to
And
meet
here's
with
what I
them
find out. So now,
No, because I will vote
this
to
is
pull
not
back
a
the money.
personal issue.
Absolutely.
This is a statewide issue. This is a statewide issue. It's both. One thing.
Sorry, sir.
That was not cool.
Well, you can tell him I love nothing more than being yelled at in public by grown men.
Maybe I should tutor Paul. The years that I was president of the council, all questions and statements get directed to the chair, and the chair decides if they should be answered by any of the members.
I mean, I think there's a place for
Paul
open
Paul
dialogue.
doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. He's upset. And I've heard worse.
Yeah. But the letter was insulting to some
I,
respect.
and I can absolutely respect that.
My wife.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
I'll be right back.
If you're looking for somebody for the traffic committee,
Yes.
I am very much interested in that.
Great.
I've been in the senior system for 4 years. I have worked in government. Yeah, I have one ready to go.
Email to me. Give me my email address. Piece of paper.
So it is, I'll send it I'll do the application tonight. I can have it.
Great.
So, if you have any questions, alright, okay. Can't find
All right. I have this done because I'm off tomorrow, so I'm very much interested in
any
doing
issues,
it.
you can just call.
Okay. All right.
Very nice meeting you.
You too.